Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is the round 3 breakdown for the 3M Open. And joining me on this Saturday evening, it's Kyle Porter. What up, KP?
Well, I have one question. It's not whether Tony Finau can close. It's not whether Richy Werenski, whose name I'm already tired of saying out loud because I'm so bad at it. It's not whether he can get his first win. It's whether Greg Ducharme is going to hedge his Werenski bet at 80-1. What's your stance on this? Do you hedge?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you do.
You have to, right?
You have to. 80-1, and your guy is just tied for the lead. You have to.
So it's Werenski is the favorite actually at plus 333 on William Hill.
Yeah.
So Michael Thompson plus 350, Finau plus 350, Schwartzel plus 800.
Yeah.
So how do you hedge it?
So for round number purposes, let's say I had $10 on Richy Werenski, so that's 800 if he wins.
Yeah.
I would probably put now I hedge small, right? Because I want to keep as much of that ticket alive as possible. So I would put $30 to win 100 on Michael Thompson, 30 on Tony Finau, and 10 on Schwartzel. That way I would make, so that is a $70. So if Werenski wins it, I win $730.
Yeah.
And if Thompson wins, I make $40 after all over. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
When it's all said and done. And then basically the same for the other guys. I'd make a little bit more if Schwartzel won it. But I like to keep my 80-1 take. I don't want to hedge half of it or anything like that.
Well, producer Jacob just brought this up. You're not accounting for the Harris English 62.
Yeah, so that's the other problem with golf. So I also don't even like hedging golf because there's more than one possible outcome, right?
Yeah,
it's very easy to bet. I have a Falcons Super Bowl ticket, and I can hedge it every game of the playoffs.
Right.
There's only 2 outcomes. There are infinite outcomes in a golf tournament. So I usually let it ride. If I was going to hedge, I would hedge it very small.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an all-time cold take from us on Monday or Tuesday, whatever.
Listen, in our defense, all we said was, I want to hear the reasoning.
Yeah. I mean, look, Richy Werenski's best ever OWGR finish was T3 at the Mayakoba in 2018. And out of nowhere, Greg's like, he's probably going to win the 3M Open.
Okay, so we've been doing this multiple times a week with Greg for 8 months, and literally have never heard him say Richy Werenski's name.
Are they boys? Are they tight?
Well, yeah. Did he text him and say, "Hey, I'm feeling good this week"? Had to have. I'm gonna say this is insider trading that's going on here. There's no other explanation.
Is Greg's side hustle Richie's chipping coach or something?
Or putting coach. The guy's been lights out on the greens.
Yeah, he has.
We're on YouTube, which you can subscribe and and click the notification bell, all that good stuff. Also, there is a tease in here that says exclusive content might be coming next week, and I literally don't even know what that is, but it sounds awesome.
I don't either. Is it where I break down the city of Memphis for the good people that follow the First Cut? Is that it, producer Jacob? Is it just me?
No, you're banned from using the word Memphis on this podcast.
Yeah, that doesn't go so well for you, I don't think. I'd listen to it though. That might be the exclusive. You'll have to stay and find out. All right. 3M Open. 54 holes in the books. Michael Thompson, Richy Werenski co-lead. Let's talk about Michael Thompson first because he's got a PGA Tour victory. So let's start there. 2013 Honda Classic. It's been 166 starts on tour since that win. And I'll tell you what, about, an hour ago from when we were recording this, it was like a 4-shot lead. And I was like, oh boy, Michael Thompson's going to run away with this thing.
Yeah, it kind of felt that way. He faded really hard coming home. I mean, he lips out the birdie on 15. 16 was a really bad second shot, the drivable par 4. He had to get up and down for par. Bogey 17. Then he had the bunker shot on 18 was unbelievable.
Phenomenal.
It was so good. And then he reacted on the putt like he just, beat Justin Rose in a Ryder Cup match or something.
The thing about that though, it was like a 2-foot putt. So like it was
Yeah.
like he got a big fist bump, but it wasn't like he drained a long putt. Like it was still cool. It was still awesome, but it was like he tapped it in and then just let it fly.
It is cool because I'll say this, like you like covering the 3M Open the week after covering the Memorial, it's just different. Like,
Yep.
it just is. But for somebody like Michael Thompson, this is a big deal, right? Richy Werenski, this is a huge deal. This is, and we're talking about this on HQ. This is a life-changing, career-changing moment, and it's cool to see guys treat it like that and not just go out there like a Koepka or whatever and be like, yeah, I just played bad or whatever. But like, this is still it compared to next week and the week after and last week, it's not. But for all these guys that are playing, it is. And so I love seeing that kind of reaction and emotion.
So you might not even remember this, but it was probably a couple months ago at this point. We had a conversation, I think, on this pod where it was like, what shot do you think about all the time? And one of mine was Matthew Wolff making eagle on 18 at the 3M Open. And for me, it was because it was a life-changing moment and because this kid just secured his card and he was so excited about it. So you're like, I like the guys who like this is their week and they can earn a lot of money. They can earn a lot of FedEx Cup points and they can secure their job for the future. And I love that storyline.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Thompson, it's kind of weird. Like he had, I haven't looked at his top 10s in recent years, but he wins in 13, 2012 US Open, which I didn't remember him. That was kind of before I was covering golf. I didn't remember him finishing. He finished second to Webb. I thought Furyk finished second for some reason.
Yeah, that has been purged from. It was never in my memory to be purged. So I did not know that.
So he's had like I don't know. It's not, I wouldn't call it a great career, but he's made like $9 million on the PGA Tour. He's had a good career. Like for somebody, we always give all the shine, all the attention to the Rory and JT and Rahm and whatever. Those are like outlier careers. Michael Thompson's career is just a middle of the road PGA Tour career. You win once, maybe you win again, and that's great. Like that's a good living and a great career. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little dubious about Sunday. He's gained fewer strokes from tee to green every day. So he's kind of gone down each day from tee to green, which tells me that the swing is getting a little dicey over the, as the tournament kind of progresses. And him and Werenski are both putting it really well, which maybe it's just their week. Maybe they just have a great putting week, but I'm still a little concerned about how Sunday's going to go.
I tried to make this argument on HQ, which is I actually kind of like a little adversity for my guys.
Yeah, you called yourself Coach K. That was
it was a weird situation, man.
You things were moving quickly or what?
I was up early this morning. I played a 6:10 a.m. round this morning.
You curse a lot less than Coach K, so at least on here.
Yeah, true. On here, I'm very filtered. My point being that, because I think Coach K said this, like, you don't want to go into March Madness undefeated, right? Like, you want to lose like 2 weeks before so that you know what that tastes like. You can get a little adversity. Like, if Michael Thompson goes into Sunday with a 4-shot lead, imagine a guy who has not won since 2013 sleeping on a 4-shot lead. And we've seen 2, 3, 4-shot leads evaporate.
Yeah.
Like quickly on Sundays. Now it's a much different situation where he's still like kind of in control. Like he controls his own destiny, but it's not like he's not expected to win. And I feel like that's good for a guy who's ranked outside the top 200 in the world.
That's a great point. And I didn't, the last 4 holes again, like speaking of things moving quickly, they were, he hits it in the water on 18. I think he hit was it a bad shot on 17T, the par 3? I can't remember where he hit that.
Yeah, it was like short and right, and then he couldn't get up and down.
That's right. So yeah, I actually like that point. I think we have a really interesting sort of like psychological deal going on Sunday with him and Werenski, who again, like it's a life-changing deal to win a tournament for either one of them. And then you got Finau over here, who it's like, and we're going to talk about him, but it's like, okay, well, how is this going to be different than last week? Is it going to be the same? So I think physically, whatever, but mentally and psychologically, I think Sunday is going to be really fascinating.
Okay, we'll talk about Richy Werenski here, but I do think so this is interesting. So this is his 99th career PGA Tour start. So he's a young guy. He doesn't have a bunch of starts underneath his belt. He has a Corn Ferry Tour win. This is one of those situations where I think the pairing is so critical. Like Michael Thompson and Richy Werenski is a pretty comfy pairing on Sunday in the final group. It's not like you have a Tony I don't even know if Tony Finau would put the fear. You know what I mean? But it's not a Tiger Woods pairing. It's not a Rory McIlroy, a Brooks Koepka pairing. And there's no fans. Like this is what Berger did at Colonial when he went out on Sunday with Howard Varner III and like played well, got himself in a playoff and wins the golf tournament.
Yeah. No, it's a great point. Werenski only hit 8 fairways on Saturday, which I didn't know you could even do at Twin Cities. Like how is that possible?
Yeah.
He was 58th, I think, in proximity to the middle of the fairway. His swing is tough. It's not good. Like, I don't enjoy watching it. But, again, the short game, I think he's second or third in strokes gained tee to green, which is incredibly impressive. So, I don't know. Which one would you rather win? Would you rather Werenski or Thompson?
Oh man. I was going to say I don't care, but I was like, I didn't mean it like I don't care. Like I think both would be kind of cool. Probably Werenski. I think listen, and I know he's made quote unquote only $9 million, but like Michael Thompson's had a pretty good run. Like a lot of guys do not keep their card nearly as long as Michael Thompson has. Richy Werenski, I think, is representative of the deeper, younger tour, and I think I would probably prefer he wins.
There's a little, and I think Homa's a better player, but there's a little Max Homa in there in terms of like you get out there. I think Homa was pretty good at Cal, at least in his college career. I don't know how good Werenski was at Georgia Tech. But then you get out on tour and you're like, oh, this is different. Like this is, it takes 4, 5, 6 years to kind of figure things out. And then we see Homa win at Wells Fargo last year. And that was a huge deal. I mean, that was, I don't know. I think they're about the same age. So sort of the same type. I don't know about trajectory. I think Homa's a better player than Werenski is, but the same kind of storyline or narrative going into the final round.
I also think it would be very cool to go have the big break win and a PGA Tour win on your resume.
Does the big break, do you get OWGR points for that or no?
You should. You should. Tony Finau won it, right? I know he was on it, but did he actually win the big break?
I don't know. It was like Tommy Gainey. I wonder how many guys that are actually on tour have been on. There's got to be somebody's made that list, I'm sure, but have been were previously on big break.
I'm sure there's a list somewhere. Tony Finau finished second in Big Break Disney.
Who
did he lose to?
What a thing to put on your resume.
Here we go. I have it right here.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that he finished second, by the way, and not first.
He lost to. Oh no, this is not right. This can't be right. We'll have to come back on that because that is not right. So let's talk about Tony Finau, can we?
Yes, we've carved out like 45 minutes, I think.
Perfect. We ran through the top two so we could get to Tony Finau. Via Justin Ray, this will be the 10th time Tony Finau has been at or within 3 shots of the lead entering the final round on the PGA Tour since he won the Puerto Rico Open 4 years ago. I think you were kind of getting at this on HQ at some point today. It's almost statistically improbable that he's not won a golf tournament.
33 top 10s in the last 4 years, no wins. 33 top 10s. That's sort of akin to Sergio's major run over the last 20 years where he had, I think it was close to that number actually, like 30 or so top 10s. Maybe producer Jacob can pull that up before he won the Masters. And you're like, I don't understand. And that stat from J-Ray kind of proves that it's not as if they're like the Kuchar top 10, the backdoor, shoot a 63 on Sunday top 10. These are like where he's at or near the lead. And I don't know, man, like I really like Tony Finau as a player. Also personally, I've talked to him. I've been around him very little, but he's awesome. Like the way that you perceive him on TV is exactly how he is in real life. Like he's very affable. He's got all these kids. He's just a a nice guy. I don't know how else to I don't know how to say it better than that. But
yeah, sorry.
Well, I want your take on, can you be a top 20 guy and not win? Like,
No.
I don't like, I know what the OWGR says. I know what the strokes gained say, but I feel like at some point you have to win to be like a top 20 guy. I don't know. I don't know how to like kind of parse that out, I guess.
This is our fault. This is our fault for making wins as important as we deem them to be, but I feel like also the players deem them to be. And no, you can't be a top 20 player if you can never beat everybody in the field. Like, I don't know how else to really put it. And maybe it's one of these things where if Finau wins once, it might be a floodgate situation, and because he puts himself in position so often. And I love the point that it's not the Matt Kuchar situation where he just backdoors every top 10. It's like he's in it. Like, he's legit in these golf tournaments. And I would love to see the floodgates open, because I think Tony Finau could be a star. Like, Tony Finau could be like a face of golf type of guy, because he's such a good guy. He has a sexy skill set, which is bomb the ball, make a bunch of birdies. Like, he's already like, he looks cool, like Ricky Fowler does. Like seriously though, but like, he could be a star, but no one knows him because he doesn't win.
He looks cool. He does look cool. I could do without the shoes. The shoes are weird.
What's wrong with the flat sole ones?
Yeah, they look like somebody like grabbed him and like cut off the top of them.
Remember when he dislocated his ankle? Obviously you remember that. But didn't he wear like a high top after that, like on the one ankle to like secure it?
Yeah, which he should wear high tops on the course.
I would love that.
It would fit his whole deal. Like, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
He's got
to win golf. He's got to win golf tournaments.
Like, okay, let me throw this at you. Who's and it's hard because it depends on how you're defining this. If you say who's better at golf, like the terminology matters. Like, better at golf, better career, but all these different ways that we can say it. But if I give you Kevin Kisner or Tony Finau, who's a better player, right?
And yeah,
like statistically, Finau's just better, like in pretty much every way. But yeah. Kisner's got what, 3 wins, and he's won some like pretty good events. And so I don't really know what to do with that, because even with somebody like a Ricky Fowler, people are like, oh, he never won. Well, he's won 5 times. Like, it's not like he doesn't win like Finau. And so I don't really know what bucket to put Finau in.
Either do I. It's really a weird situation. I mean, we kind of talked about this a little bit with Webb, when Webb was gaining so many strokes and he was gaining like 2 strokes per round. And we're like, it's impossible that he has not won in however long it was since he won. And then he did, but Webb had already had a major victory. And like, I don't know. It just feels like Tony puts himself in all these great situations. And I do think it is a floodgate situation, right? Like there is no other way to kind of describe this than either extremely unlucky or just mental. Like, there's no other way, I think.
So I'm looking at wins. So Finau's played, let's see here, 158 events, and he's got 1 win. I thought that was, let's see here. Okay, I've got Dustin Johnson pulled up, because I thought because remember, he like didn't win for, was it DJ? Maybe it was Jason Day. Ignore me. Back to whatever you were talking about.
Well, Jason Day won like 7 times in like whatever that was, 15 months. That was absolutely wild.
So I just pulled up Jason Day. He had 1 win through his first 136 events on tour.
And what's Tony at? 160 something?
He's at 158.
Oh.
So
okay.
It's not.
So if he won on Sunday, he'd be at 2.
He'd be at 2, and Day was at 3 through 158. So it's a little bit of the same. I don't know. Maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves with the Finau can't win deal, but at some point you do actually have to go and do it. Do you think he will win on Sunday?
No.
I know. I knew you didn't. I could tell.
I just think that we kind of talked about that. First of all, he's 2 shots back, and there's a lot of other scenarios that can play out. Like Denny McCarthy could go shoot another 64 and win this thing, or Max Homa goes out. Like, there's other scenarios that are not just if we removed the other 100 and whatever players, or I guess post cut, like if we just have Michael Thompson, Richy Werenski, and Tony Finau left, like maybe I'd be interested in Tony Finau. But there's a million other scenarios that play out here.
It is interesting because I feel like we sort of categorize these guys early on, and we label them early on, and it's hard for them to get out of that label. Like think about JT at Workday a couple weeks ago. He melted down last 3 holes, right? 2 bogeys in the last 3, loses in a playoff. If that was Finau or Fowler or Fleetwood or one of those guys, we would be losing our minds. But it's JT, and you're like, oh, whatever. Like that's an out. That doesn't really count. I mean, that's sort of the way I explain it away.
That's a really good point.
And so Finau is almost the opposite way. Like he has to, like even if he does win and shoots like a 65 tomorrow, that the label will still linger a little bit. I feel like,
or even if he shoots like a bogey-free 67 and doesn't win, we're gonna be like, oh, Tony doesn't win, and like he did everything he needed to do, but it didn't shake out for him. That's a really good point. And
it's a little like the Rory can't close on Sundays type deal that was going on for the last 3 years, and you're like, okay, well. That might be true, but let's look at like what actually happened on those Sundays. That some of this is like I feel like happening to Finau. Like he had a couple of opportunities. Can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago in the playoffs, and he played really well, but like somebody else played better. And that I don't know. I love getting into this stuff, but it's so hard once you get into the weeds of it, the details of it, because you win so few times anyway that it's just it's like. It's like the difference between 3 wins and 1 is enormous, even though that's only like could be like a 3-shot difference over the course of your career.
It is kind of crazy. And I think we've talked about this with major championships before, is like the margin of winning and losing on tour is incredibly small. And then also like the 4 times a year that majors happen. And if one thing goes, you're like, you only put yourself in a situation maybe in your entire life, like twice in a major championship to even be in contention. You're right. The difference between 3 wins and 1 for us is massive, but in real life in golf, it's like completely random.
Well, that's like, I mean, it goes back to Shane Lowry last year at the Open. You're on the 10th tee at the Open at Portrush, and you're leading, and there's no way you can't be thinking this will never happen again. You're Shane Lowry. It's not like you get 15 rips at it. Like you might get 2, maybe. But that's probably it, and you know it, and you still go out and win it like he did. That's sick. Like that's so impressive.
Let's talk about what Tony Finau is going to shoot on Sunday. And if you know this or would like to guess this, you have an opportunity to win $1,000 with no need to put your own money at stake. Just go to cbssports.com/golf props to play. There is a final round showdown with $1,000 on the line. Check out the link in the description for your chance to win. And this is one of the questions from our final round game. Kyle, what will Tony Finau's final round score be? Over 67.5, under 67.5.
It's a good number. I'm gonna say I think he's gonna win. Wow. I think he shoots 67.
So under.
Yeah.
I think I also like the under. I mean, he didn't even play all that well on Saturday, and he shot a 69. Right? Like 2 under, and like the middle of parts of his round, like weren't all that good. And scoring was really low on Saturday. We know weather's kind of rolled in. Like you could get some pretty good scoring opportunities and scoring conditions on Sunday. I also think it's conceivable he shoots a 67 and doesn't win the golf tournament. So I'll take that.
For sure. By the way, he hit 7 fairways on Saturday. That's the part and you brought this up on HQ. Like he hits that shot on 16 and it almost goes in the water, and you've got all this room to the left. And maybe we get fooled by how short his backswing is with his driver. And so we think he has more control over it than he actually does. But the driver thing, it's like, I don't understand this. It's not even like that long of a course. You've got wide open fairways. I don't know. Swing 75%, put it down the middle. I don't get that. Or go the other way and do the Bryson and just try to drive every green. I mean, that's a little bit of what he started trying to do at Muirfield Village last week. And I thought it was awesome. It's like, yeah, let's see this more often. Like, he's pulling 3-wood on some of these holes at Twin Cities. And it's like, man, Bryson would be 10 feet from the green. It might be all over the place, but at least you're 50 yards ahead of everybody. I don't know. It feels like he doesn't have a plan with driver.
He might not have a plan with driver.
He really does.
I don't have a plan with driver.
I have zero plan when I pull driver, but he should.
We're going to talk about who we think's going to win. We're going to talk about plays and fades. Real quick, here is the big break alums. Matt Every, Tommy Gainey, Tony Finau. They've all won on the PGA Tour. And also, Tony Finau lost to Mike Perez, who is Pat Perez's brother.
Wow. Wasn't Finau's brother on there also?
I cannot confirm that.
I think he was.
I'll need more research time on that. All right, let's take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. This is what we've been doing basically after every recap round. We're trying to do these plays and fades. The formula's pretty easy. Get guys who are striking it well and putting poorly and put them up against guys that are putting red hot fire that likely cannot keep it going and that are hitting it poorly. Well, I've got a couple of those guys for you.
Yeah, I like these.
Ryan Moore, there's a name. 4.3 strokes gained tee to green. Was that today alone? Was that Saturday's round alone? That might be pretty crazy. I think that is today. It is. Wow. 4.3 in one round on Saturday. Lost 2.6 putting. That is a guy who likely should be coming back to the field.
So when you're looking at this stuff, do you only look at the day before, or is it helpful to go back like 2 or 3 days if you're talking about Sunday?
So glad you asked. I think the better way to do it, like the more bounce back situation would be one day to just look at the round prior. Okay. Sometimes you can see a little bit more when you look at rounds 1, rounds 2, and round 3. But I'll tell you what, sometimes if guys like lost strokes putting for 3 days straight, it's not coming back. Like they've lost something. Well, that's a little bit of what I struggle with this because I've been talking about like Werenski and Thompson. They're 2 and 3 in putting. You know, like maybe it's just their week. Like at what point do you say, well, this is just like the theme for the week instead of, oh, well, there will be a correction to the median. There is situations where they either found something or we've heard guys say this, right? They just like the greens or they just like the way they look or it fits their eye or whatever. And that can last for 4 days because they haven't changed venues or anything like that. So I do like kind of one round for the bounce back situation. Yeah. So we got Ryan Moore and how do you say his name? Matthias Schwab. He's one of the Austrian brothers with burned Wiesberger. And then we got Aaron Badley, who is plus 2.4 putting and minus 2.7 tee to green. Which I'll tell you what, that's basically his normal line, isn't it? No surprise. That's what I was gonna say. Like maybe that's just what it is. Like with Aaron Badley. Picks to win. So you mentioned it at the top. I think Richy Werenski, he's the favorite here, plus 333. That's crazy. Yeah, a slight favorite over Michael Thompson, who's 3.5 to 1. Tony Finau down 2 shots, also 3.5 to 1. Kind of crazy as well. Obviously, that's what William Hill thinks the skill difference is. So you think Tony Finau wins this golf tournament, breaks the Puerto Rico Open curse? I don't know if I think it as much as I just want it. Me too. It would be fun to write. It would be I think it'd be a great bounce back from last week. I mean, last week I don't know if he got eviscerated like by people like us, but it didn't help his cause, right? It didn't help the narrative around Finau. And I think this week, if you're really, really paying attention, I think people look at the resume and be like, oh, 3M Open, whatever, not a great field. But I think a win for Finau here would be more important than just winning the 3M Open, right? Like it would be the value in it for him would be greater than just winning a kind of bad field event. It would be incredibly valuable, especially going into the major season. I agree. I mean, you give a guy who has this level of skill and this ceiling a little bit of confidence heading into 7 majors in whatever it is, 11 months. That's scary. I would like that. I mean, and he's been outside of he was awesome last week and then he melted down. He's mostly awesome this week. Like Finau's playing great. I would like to stop talking about the Puerto Rico Open curse. I hope he wins it. I do think if we can get a floodgate situation, it'd be good for the game of golf. If Finau
I think Finau is. I think he could be problematic at Harding Park. What's his number there? He is 33. That's
it's not as long as I
jump on that.
I thought he'd be longer than that in that field. I thought he'd be in the 40s or 50s.
Well,
I have you know that not to derail this. I have a Sung J M 140 to 1 ticket at the PGA Championship, which before the break was like a gold mine, and now I'm like I'm not that excited about it anymore.
Yeah, you can just tear that one up. Finau's the same as. Whoa, I didn't think I was going to get this in. He's the same as Jordan Spieth.
Wow, under the wire, 30
Yeah.
First cut.
30-15. We just got it in before I shut this down.
Justin Rose, Hideki, Finau, Fleetwood, Adam Scott, all 30. That feels right. I mean, again, though, like win something, you know, like you got to go do it.
You got to do it. I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Catch the final round on CBS Sunday, 3 Eastern. Also streaming on CBSSports.com and the CBS Sports mobile app. Thank you to Kyle Porter. You can find him on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. I'm at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. Catch you next time.